Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a really fascinating protocol from the Huberman Lab, and it all boils down to one simple question. What if the real secret to better health isn't what you're eating, but when?
Just think about that for a second. It's a pretty profound idea, right? It suggests that just by changing one single thing, not your diet, not your calories, but just the timing, we could completely transform our approach to nutrition, to our energy, and to our long-term health.
And this quote you see here, this is from Stanford neuroscientist Andrew Huberman, and it's really the anchor for this entire explainer. The idea is that the timing of your meals acts like a switch, either putting your body into a state of repair and optimization or a state of stress and dysfunction. Okay, so to really get why timing is such a big deal, we have to draw a clear line in the sand. We need to separate two goals that people often lump together, simply losing weight versus achieving real, deep metabolic health.
Look, if your only goal is to see the number on the scale go down, the science is pretty much settled. A huge Stanford study from 2018, led by Dr. Chris Gardner, basically confirmed it. It didn't matter if people were on a healthy low-fat diet or a healthy low-carb diet. The thing that mattered for weight loss was being in a calorie deficit, period.
But, and this is a huge but, the moment you shift your focus away from just the scale, when you start caring about things like stable energy, how your organs are functioning, keeping inflammation down, well, that's when the story gets way more interesting. And that is exactly where meal timing comes in as an absolute powerhouse. So, the science behind all this is rooted in a concept that basically governs all life on Earth, and that's circadian rhythms. Our internal 24-hour clocks that are running the show behind the scenes, dictating just about everything.
And get this number. This is wild. 80% of the genes in your body aren't just on all the time. They're on a schedule, a precise 24-hour schedule where they turn on and then turn off in a rhythm. Our health literally depends on keeping that rhythm stable.
Huberman uses this fantastic analogy. Think of your body as a massive orchestra, and all your genes are the instruments. Well, this orchestra has two main conductors. The primary one, it's light. Getting bright right in the morning sets the tempo for the entire day. But there's a second conductor, and that's when you eat. And that second conductor can either create beautiful harmony or it can create total biological chaos.
And here you can see the results of that. When your two conductors, light and food, are in sync, your body just thrives. Your liver works right, your energy is stable, cellular repair is humming along. But when they're misaligned, you're eating late at night, long after the sun is down, you're basically creating stress, jacking up inflammation, and literally disrupting how your genes are supposed to work.
Now, this isn't just some nice theory. The science of what we call time-restricted eating was basically supercharged by this one groundbreaking study back in 2012. It came out of the lab of Dr. Sachin Panda at the Salk Institute, who is the world expert in this field. And the experiment was just brilliantly simple. They took two groups of mice. They fed both of them the exact same crappy high-fat diet, the kind of stuff they love to eat. Both groups got the same total number of calories. There was only one difference between them. And here it is. The first group could eat that junk food whenever they wanted, a 24/7 all-you-can-eat buffet. The second group, they got the exact same food, but they could only eat it within an 8-hour window that lined up with their natural active period.
The results were, honestly, jaw-dropping. The mice that ate around the clock, they became obese, they developed fatty liver disease, and they became diabetic. But the mice that ate the exact same junk food just within that 8-hour window, they were completely protected. They stayed a normal weight, had healthy livers, and had normal blood sugar. It was this stunning proof that when you eat is just as important as what you eat.
So that's amazing science from mice in a lab, right? But what about us? How do we take this incredibly powerful finding and turn it into a simple, practical framework we can actually use in our own lives? Well, Huberman and Panda have really distilled all the research down into 3 core rules. Think of these as the non-negotiables. Number 1, delay your first calorie intake for at least 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up. Number 2, aim to get all your calories inside a consistent 8 to 10 hour window. And number 3, and this one is critical, stop eating 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed.
So here's what that could look like. You wake up at 7 a.m., you have some water, but you wait on that first coffee with milk until 8:30. You have your lunch around noon, and you finish up your dinner by 4:30 p.m. That window you create before bed is so crucial.
It lets your body switch gears from digestion mode into repair and cleanup mode while you're sleeping.
All right, we've got the basic framework. But, a few common questions always pop up when people try to do this. So let's tackle a couple of the big ones so you can really fine-tune this for yourself. This is probably the #1 question on everyone's mind. What can I actually drink outside of my eating window without ruining everything? Does my morning coffee break the fast?
And the general answer is no. Anything without calories, so we're talking water, black coffee, plain tea, is not going to break your fast. The key thing to remember is that fasting is a biological state. You want to avoid anything that triggers a big metabolic response like an insulin spike. And these drinks just don't do that, so you're good.
Okay, but what about all you folks who are focused on fitness? If your goal is to build or even just maintain muscle, does this time-restricted approach still make sense? How do you adjust it?
This is where the science gets really cool and super specific. A study from 2021 found that because of a clock gene called BMAL, our muscles are actually primed and ready for protein synthesis, that's muscle building, earlier in the day. So what does that mean for you? Well, if hypertrophy is your goal, you might actually get better results by shifting your whole eating window earlier, say from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. instead of something like noon to 8 p.m.
All right, let's just zoom out for a second and reframe this whole idea, because the real power of this approach isn't about the suffering of restriction, it's about the intelligence of alignment.
So let's stop calling it intermittent fasting. A better way to think about it is that you are intentionally creating a daily period where your body isn't burdened with digestion. You're giving it the time and the resources to activate these powerful internal repair systems, processes that just can't run at full steam when you're in a constantly fed state.
The key takeaway here isn't about being perfect. It's about moving in the right direction. It's about understanding this principle of alignment. So just think about it. What's one small change you could make tomorrow? Maybe it's just pushing that first meal back by 30 minutes, or just making sure you finish eating a couple of hours before bed. By focusing on aligning with your body's clock, you turn a simple schedule change into one of the most powerful tools you have for your long-term health.